everyone, it's Helen at Journaling Planet. It's the next day in my 100-day project. It's time to turn another piece of junk into treasure. And today I'm going to be working with a bottom layer of napkin that maybe you've pulled off when you've been doing some decoupage, or maybe you've just got a plain white napkin from a restaurant that you didn't use and you thought, I'll save that for junk journaling even though it's got no pattern on it whatsoever, and hopefully I'll come up with something. Well, hopefully today is the day that you can do something with it. I'm going to be making some textured washi tape. It's going to be a very quick and straightforward tutorial. I've got two different approaches that I'd like to show you. There are many more variations on this, but these are the two that have worked best in the experiments that I've done. First thing you're going to do is you're going to get some double-sided tape. This is kind of a play on what I did a few tutorials back with the magazines and making washi tape out of magazines. But today we're going to make much more textured washi tape because the whole texture of a napkin is completely different to a glossy magazine. So much like I did in that tutorial, I'm going to cut myself a strip of double-sided tape. I'm going to get the sticky side and I'm going to place that down on the napkin. I do it this way around because honestly, for some reason, I find it so difficult. That's my dog entering the room if you just heard him shaking. I find it so difficult to place the napkin down. I don't know why, but it's always difficult. So once I've smoothed that out, I'm going to cut around it using the tape as a guide to keep my washi tape strip nice and straight. Once I've done that, it's probably quite difficult to tell in the video, but I've got a textured piece of tape covered with the napkin, and now all I need to do is decorate it. So I have two ways in which I'm going to do that. The first is, none of you will be surprised at this because I love my stamps, I'm going to get some stamps out and I'm going to do several layers of stamps. It doesn't actually matter what kind of stamps you have because the space you're working on is so small, we're really only going to get a hint of the texture. So please don't agonize over which stamps to use, or if you've only got a couple of stamps and you're not that enamored with them, it doesn't matter actually. It could be any kind of stamp and it's going to add texture to this project. So I'm going to use a text stamp to begin with. Let's see how it all turns out. Okay, and what we're left with is a really textured piece of washi tape. Lots of abstract shape and colour, just perfect for collage. I'll show you the test strip that I did with slightly different colours. In both cases, with my ink stamps, I've used contrasting colours. So I've looked at a colour wheel, you can find them online very easily, and looked at what colours contrast with each other, and that's the only rule that I've used when putting these together. Everything else about them is very abstract, very random, very unique. Obviously I know we can all just go out and buy washi tape, but when we've got things sitting in our stash like double-sided tape and napkins, I just think that it is worth creating something a little bit unique for our journal and having a bit of fun as well with the process, because once you make these unique pieces like the paper that I've done on this channel and the other washi tapes, once you've made those yourself, you actually need to add very little else to whatever piece of ephemera you're making. So yes, it's time consuming, but it does mean that you don't spend time further down the line. So that's the first approach, using layered ink stamps. Let's move on to the second approach. So I've taken the liberty of covering another piece of double-sided tape with some napkin. You've already seen that step, so I don't want to be repeating myself. What you'll need for this is any kind of water-based ink or paint. So I've had these Bombay inks sitting in my drawer for ages. I really loved them as a media when I first came across them, and then I sort of slightly forgot that I had them. I moved on to other things, and I found them cheap in a car boot sale, so I wasn't going to pass them up. But it's quite naughty. They've been sat there for quite a while and I haven't done anything with them. So I'm a little bit more limited with my colours in this case, but I'm going to use red, green and white, and hopefully the reason for my choice will become apparent once you see what happens when you put any kind of water-based pigment on a piece of napkin. I think that the same effect could be used with watercolour, just anything that's got a water base to it. So I'm only going to put 1 drop, and can you see what's happening there? The napkin is absorbing, a bit like if you were to use like kitchen towel on your work surface, and it's spreading the colour out. So I'm going to do another drop here, another drop here. So it is a really simple process. It's very random. I'm not doing anything special. I'm not doing anything unique. I'm just putting a few drops of pigment down on the washi tape. So I'm going to spread the green out a little bit so it doesn't run too deeply into the red, but just a little bit here and there. And then I'm going to add some white and hope that the white blends the red a little bit and the green. So I know that green and pink are contrasting colours. I didn't have any pink, so I just used some white to blend the red a bit and make it a little bit more pink in hue. And this has got a really amazing sort of psychedelic look to it now. It looks a little bit like tie-dye t-shirts from the 90s. Anyone remember those? And you saw what I just did. I just dropped a few bits of pigment onto a napkin. Now, the only downside of this approach is that this takes a while to dry. And the ink stamps dry instantaneously, but this one, you're going to be waiting around. You're going to need to leave it on the side to dry for, half an hour or an hour before you can use it. But when you do, it's going to look absolutely gorgeous. I'm fairly sure that my test piece is still drying out a little bit, but I'll show you. It's like an aquamarine. Lots of different blues and green colours with a little bit of white. They're all blended with the white. That's how I created this particular look. You can, of course, use black to darken the colour as well as lighten it, and you would have a completely different effect. And that's it, folks. That's the 2 approaches I wanted to show you. I really love how these are coming out. I can't wait to use them in a collage. Have you ever tried using napkin as a base when it comes to washi tape? Did you use any different approaches than the ones I've shown here? Let us know in the comments so we can have a go for ourselves. And I really do hope that you have fun if you give this a go. It's been a very relaxing morning doing this, which is great because, to understate it ever so slightly, life can be a bit stressful. So I hope you find this fun, relaxing, and create some really unique washi tape, whilst also upcycling a piece of napkin that would have ended up in the recycling. Take care, and I'll see you next time.